thanking John Robinson and his family. I want to thank him for giving me the opportunity to lead this football team on the field, to coach it. We have a personal relationship with John, everybody here in some capacity, and so our personal feelings aren't what's important.
There are a lot of unknowns to being a general manager in the NFL, and there's a lot of difficulty that comes with the gig. As a matter of fact, there haven't really been many head coaches in the NFL that have been able to successfully take on the challenge of being a head coach while also taking on the responsibility of assembling a roster. The only man that has been able to do it successfully is Bill Belichick. And there's no better cautionary tale than the story we're telling you today, because as a result of trading his superstar wide receiver, this man just got fired despite his team consistently having winning seasons while he was the general manager. Before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! Sleeping has always been a challenge of mine. I unfortunately suffer from insomnia and I need to sleep relatively cold. Luckily for me, there's a brand new pillow on the market that literally fits all of your needs. No matter if you like a plush pillow or a super firm pillow, Marlowe has you covered. Marlowe is a pillow brand from the founders of Brooklinen, and it's designed to give you a better sleep. It's made with extra chilled infusing foam, and it's a fully adjustable pillow. Now, what sets this pillow aside from any other pillow on the market is if you want an adjustable pillow, you need to usually take out the stuff inside and create a whole mess, and it's not super easy to adjust. But with Marlowe, it's very simple. All you have to do to adjust a Marlowe pillow is simply zip it and unzip it. So if you take a look, this is currently zipped, which gives us a very firm pillow. As you can see, very, very firm. Now, if you happen to like a more plush pillow, all you have to do is unzip it. And check this out, there's no foam, there's no stuff that'll get all over your bed, or I have a dog that your dog could potentially eat. You just unzip it and it becomes nice and plush. And you could zip it and unzip it as much as you'd like to get the ideal plushness to firmness ratio that you would prefer. And right now, if you buy 2 pillows, you'll save 25% off of your order. And if you buy 4 pillows, you'll save 40% off of your order. They offer a 365-day free return policy, and they also offer a 2-year free warranty to ensure that you're absolutely happy with your purchase. It's a risk-free way to get yourself a better sleep, so click on the link in the description down below and try Marlowe. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? On Tuesday, we got some very interesting news from the Tennessee Titans. You see, the Tennessee Titans are currently in the midst of a winning season. They're coming off of a season where they literally had a first-round bye in the AFC Conference. Now, they didn't necessarily have a lot of success in the playoffs, but half the battle of the playoffs, or you could even say 60% or 70% of the battle, is getting to the playoffs to begin with. From then on, I will admit, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of game planning that takes place, but so long as you get into the playoffs, then you could make an argument that you have a chance. I mean, you could just ask the 2007 New York Giants that. And the last time the Tennessee Titans had a losing season was in 2015. This was the season that they went 3-13 under Ken Whisenhunt, and as a result, they decided to draft Marcus Mariota with the number 2 overall pick. Now, after that, there wasn't necessarily instant success. As you would know, they would go on to Mike Mularkey as a head coach, which is hysterical that they hired a head coach named Mularkey. But following Mike Mularkey, they would finally hit on their head coach when John Robinson would bring in a familiar face by the name of Mike Vrabel. For the most part, at the very minimum from here on out, the Tennessee Titans would go 9-7 for the next 3 seasons. So it would be a winning season, but it's pretty much the worst type of winning season that you could get. And that's better than what most teams could say. I'm not holding anything against him for going 9-7, but it's important to keep that in mind. Their most recent record was last year. They finished 12-5. And of course, this year, currently they sit at 7-5. And throughout the past couple years, the Tennessee Titans have had a mixed bag of draft classes. I mean, of course, in 2021 and 2020, they didn't really have the greatest picks. I mean, Isaiah Wilson was out of the NFL very, very quickly, and that was their first round pick in 2020. In 2021, they took Caleb Farley, who, with respect to Caleb Farley so far, looks like a gigantic draft bust, but it's still really early into his career. 2019, however, they had one hell of a draft class with players like Jeffrey Simmons, Nate Davis, Amani Hooker, David Long, and oh yeah, they drafted a man by the name of A.J. Brown in the second round of that draft class. And this is where things get a little interesting because there's rumors circulating about this. John Robinson was fired by the Tennessee Titans on Tuesday. Now, there's rumors circulating as to why he was fired. Obviously, the timing of this firing is incredibly convenient considering the fact that the Tennessee Titans got their asses kicked by the Philadelphia Eagles this past weekend with A.J. Brown having a remarkable game. I mean, the man had 8 receptions, 119 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns versus his former team before saying and reminding Tennessee Titans fans that he wanted to initially stay in Tennessee. The issue was they couldn't agree to terms on a contract. Now, this is bringing up the A.J. Brown trade again because John Robinson was fired by the Tennessee Titans. This is very atypical, especially for a general manager that has been with your organization during a time where you've been consistently having winning seasons. Now, don't get me wrong, he hasn't always made the right picks in the draft. A good example obviously being the Isaiah Wilson pick. And of course, some of his decisions didn't pan out, like trading for Julio Jones a season ago and then buying him out. But for the most part, it's not like he was Bill O'Brien. You know, you have your hits, you have your misses, and for the most part, he's net positive because the Titans are consistently having winning seasons. So the timing of this is leading a lot of people to believe that the reason why John Robinson got fired was because of the A.J. Brown trade. I mean, this past Sunday, they really loved this narrative. They even showed you this graphic where they compared A.J. Brown to 6 Titans wide receivers, and that didn't end up working out. And to be honest, man, I understand that Tennessee Titans fans are very frustrated about the A.J. Brown trade. From a schematic standpoint, it didn't make a lot of sense to trade A.J. Brown, but from a very black and white perspective, one of my favorite examples in this instance is using the example of Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson. I mean, you saw the Minnesota Vikings a couple seasons ago. They were in a similar situation with Stephon Diggs. He wanted more money. They weren't willing to pay him said money. They traded Stephon Diggs for the pick that eventually became Justin Jefferson. Both the Buffalo Bills and the Minnesota Vikings won that trade. And I guess the Titans saw that trade and they decided, hey, you know what? Maybe Treylon Burks is the next coming of A.J. Brown. Let's draft a player that is being compared to A.J. Brown and have him play in place of A.J. Brown. This apparently was something that Mike Vrabel did not want to do. And Alan Bell says it best here. It's not just the receptions that A.J. Brown brings to the table, it's the fact that he forces the defense to play back and he assists poor offensive linemen and stacked boxes. Legit worth more than one position, a really stupid trade. And this is the truth. If you look at the way the Philadelphia Eagles are playing right now with that triple option RPO situation they have going on, part of the reason why it's so dangerous is because A.J. Brown is a phenomenal run blocker. Hell, you could even attribute Miles Sanders' season to A.J. Brown as well. I mean, not all of it, but whatever you have a star wide receiver that also excels as a run blocker, then that's one you want to hold on to without a doubt. It's very difficult to find that in today's NFL. And a lot of people are pulling up this clip of Mike Vrabel just looking pissed off that John Robinson traded A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks. And it's something that we definitely need to visit in the offseason again, because there were multiple teams that were placed in a situation where they either pay their star wide receiver a ton of money or they move on from the wide receiver, trade him elsewhere, and get draft capital in return for him. I mean, off the top of my head, you obviously have Davante Adams, who didn't want to return to Green Bay because he didn't know what Aaron Rodgers' future was going to be like. Then you had Tyreek Hill, who saw Davante Adams' contract and just said, hey, I'm going to go to a team that can afford me. And the Kansas City Chiefs seem to be doing okay. The Miami Dolphins seem to really be blowing up as a result of that trade. So I would say that was win-win for both sides. And then, of course, you have this situation. You have A.J. Brown being traded to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Titans taking Treylon Burks in his place. Now, for all you know, Treylon Burks is a multi-year Pro Bowler. It's just his first season. I know we're used to players like Justin Jefferson bursting onto the scene, immediately making an impact, but fact of the matter is it takes a couple of seasons to see most wide receivers fulfill their potential, so I'm not going to automatically say that Treylon Burks is a bad player. And of course, there's Deebo Samuel, who the 49ers just straight up paid. I think what makes this situation very fascinating is the timing. I mean, they did it immediately after they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the midst of a winning season. And my biggest question is, if this is about the AJ Brown trade, why did ownership let him make this trade to begin with? I mean, it's a 50-50 crapshoot at this point. I mean, I'm sitting here as a commentator playing Captain Hindsight, telling you why it didn't work out. For all you know, it could have worked out, because the reason why general managers make these types of decisions is so they could preserve cap space to invest in other areas of their football team. If you could get a rookie wide receiver that could give you similar production to AJ Brown, then why not take a chance on it? So it's not like he made an egregious mistake. Obviously, when you look at it in hindsight, it looks like a bad trade, but at the time, it's not like one of those trades that make no sense at all whatsoever. There is reasonable logic to this trade. Could he have done a better job scouting? Could he have done a better job analyzing? Most definitely. So there's definitely something here. And a question that I want to ask is, what's going to happen next for the Tennessee Titans? Well, first we should hear from the owner as to why this went down to begin with. Amy Adams Strunk said, since becoming the controlling owner in 2015, my goal has been to raise the standard for what is expected in all facets of our organization. I believe we have made significant progress both on and off of the field through investments in leadership, personnel, and new ideas. This progress includes the core of our business, the football team itself, which is regularly evaluated both by results, wins and losses, and team construction / roster building. I am proud of what we accomplished in my 8 seasons of ownership, but I believe there's more to be done and higher aspirations to be met. I want to thank John for his dedicated work to set this organization on an upward trajectory, and I wish him and his family the best. Honestly, I think John is going to be fine. I think there's definitely a market for him in terms of teams that could really use a general manager. Yeah, you could obviously nitpick through some of his decisions. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney and Vic Beasley, those contracts didn't work out. The AJ Brown trade didn't work out. The Julio Jones trade didn't work out. Malik Willis doesn't look like a stud, but he was a first round talent selected in the 3rd round, so I don't blame him for that. So right now, Vice President of Player Personnel, Ryan Cowden, will lead player personnel for the Titans for the remainder of the season. There are rumors about Mike Vrabel potentially jumping into the dual role of head coach and general manager, like Bill Belichick, his predecessor, and like Bill O'Brien. And in this instance, honestly, anyone that takes the job of general manager and head coach, usually it goes either way. I could see Vrabel doing that, primarily because I could understand why he's so frustrated at the fact that AJ Brown was traded to begin with. But at the same time, man, I understand looking at run blocking, looking at what makes AJ Brown unique, and then deciding, hey, we should extend him. But at the same time, I understand the philosophy of trading him so you could try to maximize salary cap space. I don't think that's a fireable offense. I think there's definitely something more here. But let me know in the comment section down below. If you're a Titans fan, how do you feel about this? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.